All right, I got a couple of minutes here. I'm back in my filthy shop and cleaning stuff up, so it's going to be a big mess for a while. So the background is going to be pretty raw. Anyway, so I wanted to just briefly explain to maybe some of the maybe younger folks, or maybe folks who just don't know, why you're seeing so much increased suckage. In other words, why everything is getting kind of worse. You know, it's like, well, I mean, and I've been over this a couple of times, but maybe this will clarify it a bit better. We live in kind of right now, for the time being, a middleman economy, meaning that there's lots of people in the middle between the people who want something done, who want the results, and then the people who are trying to produce the results. Well, what happens is that we've got a lot of folks that are in between all of that. So I'm running into this a lot. In fact, this is happening so much in the freight industry that it's becoming so unprofitable that a lot of guys are just getting out of it, because there are so many people in the middle trying to take a piece of the pie. So you may have upwards of 12 people or more between you know, between the guy in the truck and the guy loading the truck, right, and unloading the truck. So there's all these people in the middle, and all of them want to make 100,000 or more a year, or what's the new number now? The new number is like 217 to be able to buy an average house now, apparently. So as a result of that, because you have all these people in the middle, you have nobody. So this is where that part that idea comes from. Like, well, nobody wants to work. No, it's that the idea of work has changed. It used to be that when you were growing up, you're like, okay, good deal. I'm going to go be a machinist, and I'm going to learn to use a lathe, you know, a steel lathe or metal lathe, and I'm going to make stuff, right? Well, all that got shipped over to China or India, respectively. So that means that any of those types of jobs are pretty well gone. So now what you have is a middleman economy, and you have a whole bunch of gurus that are promoting this, like, you know, just get an online presence and then do something stupid on an airplane to get millions of followers so that you can sell a bunch of shit to them. This can only go on for so long before you have people, you know, dry humping each other in the produce section of the goddamn grocery store to get likes and subscribers and clicks. And this is so when I say fame chasing, this is why I'm not a fame chaser. I'm going to be really down to earth with anybody I talk to. I'm just going to tell you straight out, like, this is what's happening. This is why everything is getting worse, because the people who you need to do all the actual work, yeah, they're getting a little upset. Atlas is shrugging. They're starting to say, okay, hold on a second here. I mean, I'm the one doing all the work, and I'm not making anywhere near the money. So they're doing exactly this is so predictable. This is exactly what happened in the Soviet system. We saw this in the 80s. For those of us that were around, right? We were around for the 80s, and we remember this. And we remember there was this whole thing, you know, we pretend to work, they pretend to pay us. And that's what's happening. So you're seeing this more and more, which is why you're just seeing everything get worse and worse and worse. Restaurants are getting worse, food's getting worse. Everything is getting worse because everybody wants the results, but they don't want to pay for it, because they've been told that this lie from subsidized mega corporations that, look, you can have top-notch service, you can have top-notch product, and it can be really cheap. And that's just not true. You can have things cheap, you can have things fast, you can have things right, but you only get 2 out of the 3. That's it. This lie that everybody's been told, and it's been told for so many years that people believe it now. This lie that's been told has made it to the point where a bunch of people believe that they can actually get all of this top-notch. I'm seeing it in the freight industry. I'm watching this happen, and I'm seeing this actually happen in electricity as well, because I work in electricity. You know, I work in power generation in general, energy sector, and everybody wants this top-notch everything. They want everything to be perfect, and because to them they're spending a lot of money, right? But they're not. They're not relative to everything else that's going on. Because remember, the guys that are actually doing all the goddamn work, right? And he could be, you know, 10 people deep from the guy you're talking to. You're talking to some guy, some salesman. The salesman wants he wants to be closed, right? He wants to make money. So he's going to tell you anything that that you got to hear to sign that contract. This happens probably more than anybody is willing to admit, right? And then what happens is the guy shows up, the actual guy, right? The real guy, the guy on the ground, the guy in the work boots, right? He shows up and says, yeah, we can't do any of that shit, man. If you want us to do all that, that's $8,000 more. This happens all the time, and it's happening more and more and more and more and more, and it's going to get worse. Because as people get desperate, right, to maintain these ridiculous lifestyles that they claim they have, and they're always showing videos of them, out in the Pacific or something like that, or out in the Atlantic in blue waters, shark hunting or some shit like that. And it's like, well, that isn't their everyday life. What's happening is everyday life is starting to become drudgery for a lot of folks, and they're starting to go, oh my God. So they're telling people what they want to hear. This is, again, I hate to harp on this, but it really is the truth. This is why you're seeing scams off the charts. It's why you're seeing so many people doing all of this stuff that, and then they, again, demanding more for less, and it's just not going to work. They're squeezing everybody in the middle out, and that's what you're seeing. So you're seeing a bunch of people in the middle getting squeezed out of industry. And the people in the middle, right, they thought that was a job. They thought that, like, well, that this was really important. We're seeing this with Citibank. Citibank is cutting, thousands of jobs now. There's more and more companies doing this. Because these are, and I covered this a long time ago in one of my older videos where I had the whiteboard behind me. And I showed this, that the handful of people on the top, right, they need the people on the bottom, on the very bottom. They need the guys in the work boots. They need those guys. They don't really need everybody in the middle, right? Well, there's a lot of people in the middle, and like I said, a lot of gurus have been pushing this for years and years and years. Get in the middle of the transaction.